Josh. I sing and I play guitar.
And I'm Jeremy, and I play the drums. Got it from when I used to play baseball or anybody playing any sport or something like that. This is where it came from originally. It doesn't mean this is what it means, but you get like hit or hurt or something and they tell you to walk it off, kid, or walk it off, you know. And yeah, I think sometimes it helps to walk stuff off and sometimes you can't walk stuff off. That doesn't necessarily mean anything with the record. But after we thought of this title and we were done recording the whole record and everything was all done, Josh and I kind of like discovered that one of the songs, there's actually a lyric where he says walk it off, or walk something off.
I do say walk it off.
And so then we're like, well, then that can be the title now because it makes sense.
No, I think it was just basically we were always trying to do the most we could with what we had. So when our first couple records, we didn't really have any budget, so we just did what we could, and on this record we had a budget, so it was like, all right, let's get a real studio and make it sound good. Yeah, well, I think we had in that aspect we had some self-imposed limitations of like, all right, we aren't going to spend 6 months making this record, and we aren't going to, you know, try to get string arrangements on it, like nothing that was like too over the top or self-indulgent. It was like, all right, let's make the record like we've made our other records, just now we have a real studio. The lyrics have nothing to do with George Michael. It's a joke. It's kind of, I originally thought that when I was making the demo of it, I came up with a guitar riff and I played it quick, and then I had to run and do something, and I had to name it something when I saved it, and I was like, oh, this kind of reminds me of the opening riff for Faith, that George Michael song, so I just called it George Michael. And then we just thought it was funny to call it George Michael. Like, that has absolutely nothing to do with George Michael. So I was like, well, might as well, right? We actually, like, I think when we were recording it, Dave was like, so what's the real name of this song? What's this going to be called when you guys actually put on the record? I was like, why can't we call it George Michael? He's like, you can if you want. I was like, well, then we're going to call it George Michael because we think it's funny. I definitely wasn't like a big Wham or George Michael fan at all. I don't know.
I think actually the first time I heard like Wham, like the Jitterbug or whatever, was actually a demo like song on my keyboard. I had like a little Casio keyboard. I
wasn't really listening to a lot of pop music at that time, at least like of that time when I was a kid. I was listening to a lot, like my parents were making me like Beatles and Bob Dylan mixtapes and stuff like that, so it kind of saved me from getting sucked into all the crap that was going on in mainstream pop music in the 80s. Although I did like, you know, Michael Jackson and stuff like that. How could you not? It's Michael Jackson. He was so cool back then.